Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Fans of the DC Universe podcast, the only DC Universe podcast for the fans, by the fans, and the best source of all DC Universe news and discussion on everything DCU. Joining me today are me, Nathan.Payson Don-el
Hello.
Nu52.
Hi.
And joining us for the first time, Toonatonian.
Hello.
Today we are talking about Harley Quinn, Swamp Thing Episode 9, and Young Justice Episode 19, and the DC Universe panel. But before we start, our hearts go out to Warren Appleby, a stunt coordinator on Titans, who died after a stunt rehearsal went wrong. For the next 3 weeks, we'll have a moment of silence at the start of every podcast in honor of him. Please join me for a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay. Now let's move on to what came to DC Universe. Today, new comics have come to this week. New comics have come to the DC Universe, including Batman number 51, Batman Sins of the Father chapter 12, Batwoman number 17, Brave and the Bold, Batman and Wonder Woman number 6, Cape Carson and the Interstellar Eye number 5, Damage number 7, Future Quest presents number 12, Green Lanterns number 51, Harley Quinn number 46, Injustice 2 chapter 62, Injustice versus the Masters of the Universe number 1, Justice League number 4, New Challengers versus number 3, Wildstorm number 15, and newly digitized, which means already released years ago, but it's finally coming to the digital realm, is Detective Comics number 318, Doom Patrol number 8, Hourman number 15 and 16, House of Secrets number 104, Johnny Thunder number 3, Law number 2, Superman Presents the Phantom Zone number 3, Superman's Girlfriend Lois Lane number 8. Now, real quick, just an FYI, DC Universe did not put all of these comics on their list this week. There was some sort of tech error, and Batman number 51 and Green Lanterns number 51 and Harley Quinn number 46, I know for a fact, are not on there. I don't know why. They just aren't. So what have you guys read off this list this week?
Well, I've started reading Brave and the Bold, Batman and Wonder Woman, but I haven't read number 6 yet.
So how is it? Do you like it?
It's pretty good because I enjoy the relationship between Batman and Wonder Woman when they're friends, and it tackles a lot of Irish mythology, which you don't really see Wonder Woman in typically, so that's pretty interesting.
That is really interesting. What is their relationship? Because we all know Superman and Wonder Woman have a relationship, but I've never really looked at the Bruce-Diana relationship.
Yeah, so in this comic right now where I'm at, it's still friendship where they have maybe some feelings for each other that are romantic, but they've never actually gone there.
Ooh. There's an animated movie where they have a Bruce, Superman, Lois Lane relationship too. I'll have to look it up. That's cool.
Wait, Bruce, Superman, and Lois Lane, like a love triangle?
Bruce comes to Metropolis. Yeah, Bruce comes to Metropolis and hits on Lois Lane, and they go out to dinner. And it is an animated movie. Yeah.
I thought it was from the animated series, the Superman animated series.
No, there's an actual animated movie too.
What?
Oh.
My mind is actually blown right now. What the frick? Don-el, have you ever heard of this?
I'm wondering, that sounds awfully familiar. Was that a young Bruce Wayne?
It was a younger Bruce Wayne. Hold on, I'll find it.
Fascinating.
Keep talking.
It almost sounds like an episode of Smallville.
It does, but I actually haven't seen Smallville, but I've read enough about it to believe so.
Because there was an episode where Bruce Wayne showed up on Smallville, and that might be after Lois Lane showed up on the show. So who knows? Maybe I'm thinking of that too.
I don't think Bruce showed up on Smallville. Maybe in the comics.
Here we go. It's Superman, Batman, Public Enemies.
It's the
2009.
Wow. Then
2009.
Do they fight over Lois? Do they fight over Lois Lane?
It's pretty friendly. I mean, it's one of those where Clark's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Hey, I'm showing her a good time."
That is so creepy.
So they don't. Yeah.
It was
good though. It was enjoyable. It was fun.
I have a hard time seeing Bruce hitting on Lois. Like, it sounds like the meanest move you could ever make.
I know, because he has all this money and poor Clark's just working at the newspaper, so it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and like Superman's like the best of all of us. It's like the best of everyone. Bendis actually went on Seth Meyers yesterday and was talking about how he's like, it's like working with the greatest person of all time. Like, if it's not the best possible move, it's not Superman. You know, like if it's not the kindest thing, it's not Superman. So it's so weird to hear Batman who's like does like selfish stuff, you know, and like hitting on Lois Lane, like the kindest of all of us. It sounds like such a jerk move.
It kind of was, yeah. He's like, I'm going to give you a run for my money.
Wow. This week I read Batman number 51, and I've read Harley Quinn number 46 and Justice League number 4. What I really liked about Batman number 51 is it's sort of a big look at like who Batman is to the city, and it's really fascinating.
I'm looking over the stuff that's on the new comic page. Isn't that fun? But is that where you're saying the problem is? Because I don't see Batman 51 on the new to read on DC Universe.
Yep, that's the problem.
Well, that's crummy. Oh boy, I'll go back and look at your list. Myself, I had to, of course, immediately dive into Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 8, which I did read thoroughly, of course.
Yeah, and I know for a fact.
I
know for a fact Batman number 51. Green Lanterns number 51 and Harley Quinn number 46 aren't on there, but they both were all added. I've checked. I don't remember about any of the others, but I hope it's something DCU fixes.
Yeah, and I've already read Green Lantern 51, I believe. That was the whole thing where Dan Jurgens came in and took over.
Yep.
And also I see Wildstorm 15 is here, which I've already.
You've already read,
yeah. It's horrible, but if you read it, it's actually quite nice. I've already read through 22 of Wildstorm.
There's only 2 more. Don, you almost made it. There's only 2 more, and they're out.
Nah, I'm done. I'm done with paper. Wow. Well, except for stuff that isn't digital. So there are things like Black Hammer, Age of Doom that I end up having continued.
This is so funny. Because compare me to you, I'm literally just going to the comic book store and buying comics for like the first time in my life, and like I normally wait till the trades come out. But I've been really interested in this new superhero universe that Humanoids is doing. So once a month, I've been going to the comic store and picking up all the Humanoids H1 stuff. It's a brand new superhero universe. It's more focused on a more grounded reality, and I'm really enjoying it. There's only about 3 comics in the universe out right now, but I've been going every month from this year, and it's so weird because like you're like, I'm done, and I'm like just getting into it.
But you're doing the same thing I am, because that isn't digitized. It's not part of a Comics Unlimited service, so it totally makes sense to me you're doing that.
Right.
One that came up that was recently digitized. I'm looking at the page of all the new stuff. The Detective Comics from the dim past, right?
Yeah.
The funniest stuff they would do. It's Great Scott, Batwoman has joined forces with Catman and become Catwoman.
Wait.
I just can't get enough of this.
What?
Stuff.
Wait, Batwoman became Catwoman?
Yeah, but it's a green outfit with tan pants.
What? Who writes this stuff?
And of course, you're going to read it and find out she did it to get into his crime ring or whatever, blah blah blah. But still, funny. I just can't get. I do need to look at that Injustice versus the Masters of the Universe. I'm hearing that even though it's a what if, somehow it gives a glimpse into what's going to happen with Justice.
Yeah, New 52, do you have anything to say?
Nope.
Awesome. Real quick, just quick shout out because I'm really enjoying it. Harley Quinn number 46 is really interesting. One thing, it's either 46 or 47. It might be 47. But either way, it's really interesting what's going on. Basically, it's a reboot of the Harley Quinn series, soft reboot. New creator Sam Humphries, who's on DC Daily, is the one who is on DC Daily, writes it. And it's been really fun. The opening story is Harley Quinn becomes a female Fury for the Lords of Apocalypse. And it's sort of a look at like her craziness, but also like her humanity. And it's really fun. It's also goofy, like, and weird. Harley Quinn, I think, sends her mom a bunch of comic books at one point of like herself. And I'm just like, I can't even get my head around it. I'm like, I'm not even going to try. Anything else you guys are reading this week?
I just reread Plastic Man's mini issue, the 1 through 6, with Gail Simone and who was it? Adrian Milo.
Okay.
I was doing some research.
Do you like it?
I did. It was fun. I thought it was fun. It's a nice compact introduction to Plastic Man. Yeah, it got a little raunchy, which I don't know. It was,
what year did it come out? What year is that?
Let's see.
Is this the one that just came out? Yeah.
2019, 2018. It's newer.
Yeah.
Gail Simone is one of those writers like Sam Humphries that I always have to give them a try because they just have won me over on other series so well.
Well, I don't like it, I'll be honest. If number 1 through 2, by the way, for those of you who are curious, is out on DC Universe. But I don't like it because he's creepy. Like, he has this moment where he gets like a 12-pack. He's like, what, you don't like my 6-pack? And then gives himself a 12-pack, and he's just like the creepiest person I've ever met. Like he genuinely disgusts me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like I've never read a Plastic Man comic that's not creepy.
Where I like Plastic Man is in the Terrifics. He's working well in the team.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to read the Terrifics. Maybe that'll change my mind.
You should. And I just like his backstory. You know what I mean? Like it's a good example for like accountability, because he was a bad guy and now he's kind of attempting to do good, maybe.
I actually enjoyed that book club reading we did, which was, I think, in the 80s. They did what you're talking about, Toonatonian, where
I didn't like it. I thought he was creepy. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe you're the creepy.
And that's why we have lots of heroes and lots of heroes to choose from.
That being said, I'm still reading it because I'm not that familiar with Plastic Man. I just feel like I need to throw up every time I look at his costume too.
Have you ever read JLA? Have you read Morrison's JLA?
No, I have not. Stupid phone.
Okay.
Be quiet.
Okay.
I have not.
That's Morrison doing his "The Heroes Are Gods" thing he does, and Plastic Man does come off very well in those first 40 issues of JLA, 45 issues.
So if I want to read a not creepy Plastic Man, go to JLA.
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's an animated one too that's real good with Plastic Man. I think it's a JLA animated like cartoon series, and it's real fun.
It was funny. I was doing some research last week for a post for DC Universe about like Marvel vs. DC and using their slate of films and movies as a comparison. And I was like, I forgot they're making a Plastic Man movie.
Are they really?
Yeah, they announced like that they're working on a script. They're working on a script right now. Now, I don't think it'll ever come to daylight. I don't think it'll ever come to daylight because if Plastic Man is remotely creepy, it'll be like go over horribly because it's like the age of like the Me Too movement, And Plastic Man strikes me as the antithesis of that.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be. Yeah, no, I think they should do it. I didn't think we'd ever have a Shazam movie, and we did. So, but yeah, it's the JLA like animated cartoon series that Plastic Man is actually kind of fun in.
Yeah. I will say, I was thinking about this, if they want to make a Plastic Man work in the modern era, it could be really nice to create a movie that's like a new take on him, that's a little more nuanced and a little less creepy, and then I think it could really work, and the movie would actually help Plastic Man as a character, because we all know that scriptwriters are gonna be like, we can't make him creepy. He can't be remotely creepy.
I've never thought of Plastic Man as creepy. I thought it was a little gross at times. There's stuff he does that makes me want to run to it, because of the weird stuff he does with his body.
What it probably is? My first interpretation of Plastic Man, two things. One, he like becomes this woman's clothes, and the woman thinks it's like this pretty dress, but he's like his body, the woman's clothes are literally just him, and the female doesn't know. And then he reveals himself, and I'm like, "Who the freak is this guy?" We all know what he's looking at. He's like,
"Oh my god!"
I just realized what this podcast is going to be. The whole thing is a group therapy session for Nathan to get over his Plastic Man trauma.
No,
You know
and like
what though? And like the recent animated, it's a Batman and Scooby Doo. It's like a recent animated one. I never even thought about it that way, but he does turn himself into a chair, and Daphne sits on him. I
Oh
wish
my
you hadn't
God.
pointed that out. You've never thought of it as in gross and creepy.
Okay,
Thanks a lot, Nathan.
the one redeeming factor about the current Plastic Man comic is there's a Where Waldo thing, but it's where's Dan the Dio. That's right. Dan
That's
the
fun.
Dio is actually in Plastic Man #2.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. But otherwise,
That's
he's just.
fun. I'll have to look for him.
Now, Nathan, a couple of things quickly. Is
Yes.
Freedom Fighters canceled?
Freedom Fighters is a 12-issue miniseries.
So it's still going?
Yes. And the very first issue reveals a Nazi Plastic Man, which, by the way, makes perfect sense. He can change himself into anyone. He can become people's clothes. When you want someone like that to spy on everyone. Anyway.
Yeah. Yes.
That's why I brought it up. I wanted to see if that's what traumatized you, was the Plastic Man in that one.
That was my first time seeing him. So maybe that's half of it. Yeah, my first Plastic Man impression was reading Freedom Fighters #1 and it's like Nazi
That's
Plastic
terrifying Man. Plastic Man. He is utterly evil in that comic.
Yeah, and then I went from that to like issue 1 of the Plastic Man 2018 series, and where he's like dressing up as someone's clothes, and I'm like, no, thank you. And then it just went downhill from there, and now I'll never unsee how creepy he is. Well, let's move on before this gets even worse to what we watched this week. This week,
wait a minute though, new 52. You wanted to say something, didn't you?
Oh no, just that creepy factor of the transforming person reminded me of Beast Boy in Young Justice when he turned into a dolphin, I think in episode 18. And he was pushing the aquatic girl into the boat, but like his whole face was in her bottom, pushing her in. And then when she's in the ship, he looks and has like a smile on his face.
Oh, God. It's like I have to think that wasn't intentional, you know?
You want to think. That's right. We do. We do want to think.
Well, this week, speaking of Young Justice, episode 19 came out today, and Swamp Thing on Tuesday, and Swamp Thing episode 9 came out today. Now, I want to start with Swamp Thing because almost everyone, I think everyone, read Swamp Thing I think everyone, this time pop quiz, did everyone read Swamp Thing Saga of the Swamp Thing #21?
I did.
Yes, I did. I got it finished.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yay, we all passed. So, so the reason why I mentioned Swamp Thing Swamp Thing #21 is because Swamp Thing episode 8-9 is called the Anatomy Lesson, and it's an interpretation of Saga of the Swamp Thing #21, which is also called the Anatomy Lesson. And the reveals in Swamp Thing Saga of the Swamp Thing #21 are the same reveals from Swamp Thing episode 9, and so I thought it'd be a great comparison. The big reveal being that Alec Holland is dead, and that Swamp Thing is just a bunch of plants who think they're a human, which is really interesting. Any thoughts?
Yeah. I love that they're getting into that.
Yeah, me too. It was really fascinating because I came to two different conclusions from watching the episode and then reading the comic. I felt like the TV show painted it in a way where you could still see that Swamp Thing is Alec, even though it's not his body, where in the comic it's pretty definitive that's just a plant that thinks it's Alec.
Yeah, that makes sense. It was because it was talking more about how it's the consciousness of Alec Holland just as a plant, where instead of the other way, instead of like, no, you're a plant that just didn't realize, and then Swamp Thing feels this depression and then proceeds to become a plant. Oh, sorry, spoilers.
Yes.
Yeah, but in the comic book, they definitely had Woodrow, I guess it is, saying, again, that phrase, consciousness of Alec going to the plants. So I'm not sure. And it all goes into this whole conundrum of what is existence and why do we even have self-awareness? And do plants have self-awareness, for that matter?
But the way they framed it in the comic was with the worms that were eating the other worm. So I took it as the plant was absorbing that knowledge, but wasn't actually Alec.
Yeah.
And that brings up the question: what does it mean to be Alec? Is it, like you read all these science fiction books where somebody puts their consciousness into a computer and then they keep downloading, like Brainiac, right? Is that? I mean, are we talking souls at this point? Are we saying that the plant is not the soul of Alec Holland? That's what I think is kind of almost, what do you want to say? Thinking about things beyond this life type stuff.
Right. Context is everything too, I think, which is part of New52's thing. Is I read the comic and then watched the TV, so my interpretation of it is based off the comic, whereas New52 is more of two separate, different interpretations because she saw the movie, the episode, and then read the comic. And I think what I noticed is that in the episode, Swamp Thing is more. It's like the reason why this matters is because Swamp Thing was hoping, or Alec was hoping, he could get cured. You know, and the reveal that Alec Holland is dead is that sense of, I'm stuck this way forever. Whereas in the comic, it's more of a horror. Like, I'm not who I thought I was, and I'm literally just a stupid pile of plants. And so what's the point of being anything else?
Know is, now in the TV series, and again, I have not watched much of it at all, just very, very little. Is he a killer like he was in the comic? Because in the comic, he actually kills somebody.
Yes.
I don't think
he's going around killing people.
I don't think he's killed anyone yet.
He has. He ripped that guy apart, remember?
Yeah, he did. That was awesome scene.
That's right. Oh my God.
How could you forget that, Nathan?
I know.
I'm sorry.
It's straight from a comic book page. It is. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. But it's the green like protecting itself though. So is it really Alec Holland? And it's Alec Holland's just the green, is like you said, like his soul, his spirit, just kind of disperses into the green. And I mean, is it really Alec that killed a person, or was it the green? Right.
That's really complex.
Yeah.
But it is that consciousness that decided to kill that specific person, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Wait, so the consciousness is Alec, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what is your consciousness, Nathan? Is it real, or is it just everything you ate the past 3 days?
Well, Descartes once said, this is somehow relevant because I'm a nerd. Descartes once said, "I think, therefore I am." So I think that's the validation for Alec moving forward. Is this fact that I'm still thinking, therefore, even though I'm not what I thought I was, I still exist, and I'm still something more. And that got way too philosophical there, but I think I really like that idea of maybe there's potential for Alec.
I love that idea.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Especially because
in the comic book, he didn't kill later. That's the thing. My wife and I faithfully followed that back in the 70s and 80s, and I don't remember him going around killing people. But I guess he did in the very beginnings of the source, back when it was more of a horror story.
It's interesting. My first
By
impression,
the way, I love the artwork. When you gave us the assignment tonight, I just remember one of the biggest appeals to my wife and I was that creepy artwork.
It is.
And the panel.
I just remember he would constantly draw people with gnats and flies flying around their living bodies. It just gave it such a creepy feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I loved about Saga of the Swamp Thing number 21 is it goes full circle. And it starts with you being like, what's going on with this man and this blood? And then at the end, it's like, I wonder if he ever bled or not. And then you get the answer. You get the answer at the beginning. And I love that full circle thing. It's like one of those masterful stories. And I think a lot of people have told me it's the best Swamp Thing story of all time. So if you have not read Saga of the Swamp Thing number 21, definitely read it.
Yeah, it was the first Swamp Thing book I read, and it was really good. But as far as in the TV show, the way they framed Alec turning into Swamp Thing, it seemed more like the green was providing him a body to continue in, as opposed to it was taking him and taking his consciousness and absorbing it. That's just how I interpreted it on the show.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. That's a really good example, differentiation between it.
I definitely like this episode because last week we were complaining about the side characters not getting any time. and the side characters got to return. Liz unfortunately got a little snubbed, but all of the side characters, except Madame Xanadu didn't show up at all. But most of the side characters got to show up again, and so it was really nice getting to see a follow up on the stories. And I'm feeling like all the pieces are there to end it really nicely. Like I was thinking about it, I was really worried it would just fall apart because none of the side characters are talked about.
Yeah,
but they finally return. It seems like I can give a clear sense of where the final finale is going.
Yeah, it really worked as a penultimate episode, especially because all the characters, like you said, that were sort of sidelined maybe the past 2 episodes started to step up, started to come into their own, and we saw them all coming together. So they weren't just like their singular stories. And I liked Liz in this episode. She was doing her detective work. But what I noticed was that as all of the other characters started to rise up, Abby slowly faded in the background because so far she's been like a self-insert where we see everything through her eyes. And now that everybody else is doing something and the story is important from beginning to end and not just like in the last third, Abby's not really as necessary.
No, Abby, I feel like is just is kind of helpless.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
and again, in the comic, you'd go long periods where Abby wasn't even there. You know, the big heaven and hell battle and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's a weak point because she's framed as the main character of this show.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I think what's happened is the main character shifted to Alec from Abby, especially this last episode, because Alec's the one who's facing all the tragedy now. You know, and I think all of a sudden we care more about his story than we do about Abby. One thing that Anatomy Lesson, both the episode and the book, captured so well is the sense of mystery of who is this person. And I think it was really enjoyable, like seeing that mystery unfold. And it was cool watching both, because I'm sure in Nu52 you noticed this, that there's like direct lines from both. You know, like exact word for word lines. Which like if you like is one of the most validating things for anyone who reads comics, the source material, is you see those like exact lines, those exact moments, even super subtle, and you're like, haha, I knew it, you know?
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's nice to see it.
You know
right
what was
there.
really
You're
tough
like,
though?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as you're saying that they're shifting the camera from Abby over to Swamp Thing, imagine if the final episode, it just has the camera focus on a bunch of plants for the hour.
that would I am curious to see how they handle that, because the very next issue of Anatomy Lesson, which I don't know if we'll read it or not, is about sort of his trying to get out of being a plant. And so it's like him feeling like he's something more than a plant. And I think this was before the green was really revealed, which is an important distinction. That's an Alan Moore creation, I'm pretty sure. But there's something that like Alec needs to realize, or I guess Swamp Thing now needs to realize, that what he is he's this embodiment of nature that has been given the memories of someone who fought for nature, you know, and he's been given this opportunity to be something else. And I think what needs to happen is Alec needs to find his purpose fairly quickly, because I don't want to look at Alec Holland faking being plants for like 30 seconds or like 20 minutes or whatever. But in the comics, that's kind of what happens.
Wait, I think I just saw Fran.
Wait, so in the battle of Sunderland versus Sunderland, who do you side with, Avery or Maria?
Oh, Maria, definitely.
Maria. Yeah, Maria.
Like, I feel so bad for Maria. Like, I'm not going to spoil it because Toonatonian isn't fully caught up yet. But man, I've felt like so empowered when Maria started to get more power. Like, there was just something really satisfying about watching Avery fall. And I think that's part of what's so good about this TV show. Is I read something once that like art is not about what you see; it's about what the emotion you feel. And so I found it really interesting. Like, I genuinely cared that Avery was going down. Like, there's something weird I like despised about Avery, and something I liked about Maria, even though Maria was also just as conniving.
I'm the opposite. I'm on the flip side where I prefer Avery to Maria, but I don't want either of them to win or lose. I just want to see them keep going back and forth. So that's a sad point that I'm not going to see any more of that after next week.
Are you sure? I think Maria made it very clear. She's like, we're going to see each other again. And Avery was like, no, I think they're going to see each other
I
again.
mean, after that episode, which is the last episode, we're not going to see more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, stupid cancellations.
But the show got good right at the end. Mm-hmm. They should have been doing this earlier on.
Well, I think part of what happened is they had a mid-slump where they had lots of plot to get through without enough time, and so they kind of just forgot about everyone that wasn't part of the main plot. And now
But it wasn't really going through the plot. It was meandering a lot, and there was a lot that they could have trimmed, and but I really loved this episode.
Oh, no, this was a return to form for sure.
What did you think of Blue Devil?
Mixed feelings. I don't know a lot about Blue Devil to begin with. I didn't get the chance to do the book club when it came out and read that comic because I was doing a bunch of other stuff. I think I was on vacation that week or something, or I might have been doing finals. I forget, one of the two. But I feel like it's an intriguing story, and I like how they did it. I do wish we got to see like what the Blue Devil looked like in a full 10 seconds for a period. Like we just kept getting glimpses, and we would see like the face for 2 seconds and then disappear. Like I just wanted a chance to soak in what the Blue Devil looks like, and I think that was my biggest frustration.
Yeah, I really wanted.
Oh, go ahead.
I was to say, the Blue Devil is quickly becoming one of my more favorite characters. I'm becoming intrigued with that story. Just the more I glimpses I get of the Blue Devil, the more I want to dive into everything there is about him. And I wish they hadn't canceled the show because I would have loved to see what all they were going to do. But maybe one day.
Yeah, I think one thing that was really interesting, and we'll see if Floronic Man happens or not, but I feel like one thing I preach about this episode is it felt so polished. I got a sense of what the future seasons would look like. And it felt like there was a very clear path, like what happened to Woodrue today, I'm not, without spoiling it, is very much clearly feels like he was on the path to being Floronic Man.
Yes.
And I think a lot of these characters took big steps in that regard, but I don't think those steps are going to be made next episode. I think we're still a ways off. And so that was kind of frustrating. But
this episode was a lot more polished, and it made me actually feel kind of like Titans, where season 1 was okay, but it had a lot of gems in it that a season 2 would have been able to really capitalize on. So it is now hitting me I'm going to miss that. We're not going to get a season 2.
But it was this period of time where I'm honestly not complaining that they canceled it. It would have been nice to see more, but there was just this episodes 5 to 8 or whatever aren't bad. They just didn't really work, and they weren't continually making me want to see more. I was just well, I'm this far in, I might as well just finish it off. And so, but this episode was no, trust me, we got this. We know what we're doing. And I feel like this, and it was nice because that's my favorite Swamp Thing story, and it's a telling of that story. And it's my favorite Swamp Thing story with my favorite Swamp Thing episode so far. It's kind of a nice little mix. And I mean, it should be telling because they're adaptations. One's an adaptation of the other. But even then, it felt like there was enough differences in episode 9 that it was great.
Yeah.
It's funny overall as you look at the longer view. One thing I'm thinking for sure is we can't say never, right? Because we keep watching this wild, one of my favorite stories is called The Expanse. That was on Sci-Fi for 3 seasons. Good, hard science fiction, a lot of fun. And now I think it's Amazon has picked it up. So you just never know. Swamp Thing could be.
Was it Expanse on CBS?
It's called The Expanse. Yeah. What's that?
I thought it was on CBS and then it moved to Sci-Fi and then it moved to Amazon.
Well, I don't remember it being on.
Is it the Halle Berry show?
No. The Expanse is about the near future where there's mining in the asteroid belt. There's a colony on Mars, and
I'm just trying to
life form discovered. Really,
I'm
really.
Just trying to remember what show that was.
Well, it's on. Right now you can. I believe it's Amazon that it's on now, but anyway, what I was getting at was
okay, that was
Extant. Show up.
That was Extant.
You're thinking of Extant. Yeah, my wife liked that one a lot.
Okay.
And I had the guy that played Megan later.
This is why I use the internet while I podcast, you guys, so I can correct myself.
But all that to say, that's the first thing. The other is, we're watching Swamp Thing with just one episode. or one season, but every year on the 3 big networks, there's this glut of new programming, and as soon as they come in and you get involved, half of them are going to be canceled, right? It's like some of these great storylines, great sci-fi, like Powerless. Well, I really enjoyed Powerless. It lasted what?
Critics did not like Powerless, though. Critics did not like Powerless. I didn't see it. I remember it, but critics hated it.
I would love to see DCU do a comedy superhero sitcom. I would love.
Oh, absolutely! I think, unfortunately, Harley Quinn won't be that, as anyone who's seen the trailer already knows. But I think there's a lot of potential to have what you're saying. And I hope I don't think Powerless is the right answer. I think a Jimmy Olsen series could be really cool. Like a Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, like the comic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because Jimmy Olsen
is
like
fun.
bonkers off the walls, but like the Jimmy Olsen comic right now that just came out, everyone loves it and is calling it the best comic of the year. I don't know if this is true, but everyone's like, Jimmy Olsen, Jimmy Olsen, Jimmy Olsen, and only one issue is out, and everyone's already so obsessed with it.
You did see on the first page where they say they're going to kill him off.
I haven't read it yet, but everyone keeps telling me how good it is.
It starts out, Jimmy Olsen, blah blah blah. By the way, we're going to kill him by the end of the series.
No.
Is it a 6 issue? Yeah.
Oh, I was just wondering if we could talk about Woodrue in the episode in the comic.
Yeah.
Yes. Very different. Different stages.
Yes. It was really interesting seeing where he was coming from on the TV show and where he was coming from in the comic, because it was very different. Because on the show, he's much more invested with his wife and trying to find a cure for her. And I feel like it's more of a personal thing. Whereas in the comic, it was much more about the science of it all.
Yeah, it was more introspective. Like Woodrue's doing this in the comic so he can learn more about himself because he's the Floronic Man. Whereas here, he's not the Floronic Man yet. And it's about someone else. And I almost started crying when what happens to Woodrue at the end happened. Like I just felt like I feel like they did a great job with Woodrue and creating a tragedy around him. And part of why I can see where the final episode is going to be, even though I don't really know what it's going to be, because there's not enough plot threads that are clear. Like generally in a final episode, it's like the oh no, everything's going to go terrible, and then you're like, how are they going to do it? In this case, I'm like, I don't fully know what's going to happen in the final episode, but I can see that Woodrue's angry, right? Swamp Thing is in a terrible state of mind. Maria's pissed off so much right now. Avery's in his Avery manipulative state. And then I'm not even going to talk about what happened to Lucilia's son. What's his name?
It doesn't sound like there's going to be a family picnic at the end, that's for sure.
No.
Did you guys watch the series V when it was out a few years ago?
Yes.
No. Oh. Ooh, what's V about?
Some of you saw it? New 52,
I don't
you
think
saw
so.
it?
The aliens invading?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that one had one of the characters that was on Smallville then played the daughter of the invader, who's also the lady that's on Gotham and also on Deadpool. And I'm forgetting her name now, but anyway, she'll actually be there. Toonatonian
Marina Baccarin.
We're going to. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Very, very. And anyway, she plays the alien queen. That was canceled, right? So they knew it was going to be canceled.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you know it? The last episode, they had this horrible thing where basically the daughter that you were really holding out would stay in love with the human. She just eats the guy. And it's just like all the worst things you can possibly imagine happen. Well, they're there to harvest this. That's the whole point of V. They want to eat humans. And so it has this lady that plays, I'm trying to think which part she played in Smallville, but she played Supergirl. And anyway, she just basically devours her boyfriend at the end. It's like the final scene. And you can almost hear the people that wrote it thinking, cancel us, will ya?
Oh, you know who that is, Nathan? It's the girl that plays Indigo in season 1 of Supergirl.
Yes. I was watching the Comic-Con trailer for Supergirl, and she's in there. And it's obviously it's a sizzle reel, so it is from her past. So it was such a weird choice because I don't remember her being that memorable. The only thing I remember is that her arms extend, and she uses that to set off the nuclear weapon because she needs 2 people.
Well,
And
now
she's
with
like,
Brainiac,
yeah.
With Brainiac on the cast, she could come back.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Supergirl's gonna be so good, you guys. I know people who really hated the season 4. The Supergirl radio or whatever hated season 4 and was like none of it worked, but it was like by far the best season of Supergirl, and so it's really fascinating. I think Supergirl's gonna be great. Anyway, let's move on to Young Justice. By the way, I know we talked about Swamp Thing for a while. That's how good this episode was, you guys. And we didn't talk about everything. We left some stuff kind of quiet.
Yeah.
We want to move on. So Young Justice episode 19. The Justice League is manipulating everybody. Ooh. Right?
Yeah. Well, not the Justice League, but the secret contingent of the leaders of each group.
What are they so if they're fighting against the dark, against the light, are they called the dark?
The Shadows.
The Shadows.
No, because there's already the League of Shadows.
Yeah, that's why they're just the Shadows. The light and the shadows. And the light causes the shadows. Ooh.
Oh, and they did cause whatever happened in this episode.
Yeah.
Is it really
both played each other? Yeah, it's the light is Luther's secret group.
But it seemed like the Vandal Savage group is working above the light, right?
Vandal Savage is part of the light.
But Vandal has his own mission separate from it, doesn't he? Or is his mission the light's mission?
Well, I think they're not one and the same, but this was part of the light's mission because Luther knew what was going on. And Luther was using this as a chance to defame the outsiders. And so it was definitely the light trying to manipulate events, and then the shadows, as I'm just going to call them now, which makes sense because half of them are Batman people. But it was like the shadows was trying to manipulate the outsiders as well. So they were both manipulating the outsiders, and I'm curious to see what happens because the outsiders are really the insiders who don't know they're the inside. Everyone's using them to their advantage right now, and I'll be curious to see when all this explodes because we know it will all explode, right? Mm-hmm. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And I'm curious to see if we don't just get this rogue group of superheroes who are I'm sick of you, and then that's season 4 how it kicks off.
Well, here's a question for you. I've noticed, we spoke last time about how wonderful it is that Young Justice shows a nice, realistic, almost a hard science fiction vision where mankind's given rocket ships and all that, where they're not. The other thing, though, that they do that the regular comics don't, they seem to like to kill off characters. So, do you think anyone's going to die by the end?
Do they like to kill off characters? I feel like there's over the course of 8 years, 4 characters have died in Young Justice total.
Well, that's more than normally in the comics.
But it's over the course of 8 years, and the comics don't move in real time.
That is my point. So do you see anybody you think might not be with us for the next season?
I think Superboy has been kind of playing second fiddle to everything. And I think it could be his time to go because I think the writers have run out of stuff to do with him.
I'm a little worried for Halo because she's coming off like that kid on...
Halo is definitely dying. It's like
she just dies every episode, right? Like that kid on I forget the name of that Smiley Alley cartoon where there's the little boy that dies.
So they're foreshadowing right now that Halo's dying every time. Every time Halo actually... every time Halo dies...
Halo was like the kid in South Park.
Yeah, every time Halo...
Kitty? Halo. I like Halo.
I do too, but they've been telling that every time Halo dies in combat and she regenerates, her cells die a little bit more. And soon as she keeps using her power, she's going to die, and it's not a matter of months. So it's possible that Halo makes an ultimate sacrifice, being I'm going to die in a couple months. I might as well die now when I can be a hero.
I see that. Yeah, it makes sense.
So I don't know where that's going, but I think Halo's been the coolest character by far this season. The fact that she's a living mother box is so fascinating.
Yeah, so she probably does need to go.
Yeah. Don-el, when you ask the tough questions. Nu52, do you have any thoughts
Yeah,
on
it's
who
all
might
good.
die?
Oh, I forgot. We're all supposed to disagree with Nathan tonight.
Oh, never mind. Nu52 will be right back. I am sorry, guys. Let's see. Let's move on. We'll come back to Young Justice when Nu52 returns. Let's get to some news now because we are already running out of time. We spent way too much time on Swamp Thing. That's no big deal, though. That was a good conversation. That was a good conversation. So let's go to news. In DC Universe's weekly office hours, Applejack revealed that Community 2.0 was being delayed until October 2019. But there is a small group beta that will be available in late August and a larger beta in September. Is there anything you guys want to say about Community 2.0 other than that it looks like it's going to be the greatest thing that's ever touched our lives?
I'm not surprised to hear it's delayed. I had a sense it was being delayed because, the way Applejack was talking a few months ago, I was like, oh, it'll be here any minute. And I mean, you think to yourself, gee, too bad they didn't go through all this with the current version, right?
Yeah. I think one thing I really appreciate about Community 2.0, I think this is why it keeps getting delayed for anyone who's disappointed, is every time I hear Applejack talk about it, it gets cooler. It gets better. I get more invested in it. And I've gotten a chance to see some photos of it. Applejack even has posted a couple too. And it's like, it looks incredible. Like, you guys will fall in love with it. I'm serious. From everything I've read, everything I've heard, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
Wish the community already had. Like, they keep adding features. It's a classic thing called feature creep, which is this idea that you keep adding stuff because you're like, ooh, this would be cool. And feature creep is going to be, I think it's going to be a great thing for the service because it wants to launch and be a clear step forward. Like, and it's like, there's going to be so many cool things, you guys. I can't wait for Community 2.0. But because of feature creep, these features take time to program. And then they got to go through legal, double check these features are okay. And so it's this longer process. But it's going to be phenomenal.
Two things on Applejack that are, kind of a little related, maybe not. First of all, ironically, Nathan is the apple of Applejack's eye, and that's why he will definitely be in the beta group.
What?
Testing.
What? I don't think I'm the apple in her eye.
Oh, well, you don't know what that expression means, apparently.
Oh, anyway, I know what the expression means. I disagree with the expression.
I think she dotes on you. I think that you're one of her favorite community members, and it's good. It's good. Now, moving along.
That's an awkward movie.
Moving along, I thought the office hours. First of all, I missed it. I don't know. I guess because it hadn't happened for 2 weeks. I'm normally an avid fan of the live. It's like live radio, right? It's just amazing to watch. But it is massive. That is a massive amount of stuff that she answered this last time.
I don't know. I missed it. I only hop on whenever I have a question.
This? What are you doing?
I'm here. Are you okay now?
I think my internet just cut out for a second. It's good if I'm listening. Okay. I'm gonna move a little bit just to help. With internet. Internet's a bitch. Yeah, that was not supposed to be said.
So it's we all forgive you.
Nobody heard it.
It's a bitter. There you go. That's what I said.
That's right. It is. It is bitter.
But it's also sweet. Like, I can fact check myself.
I agree. My internet cuts out sometimes too.
Yeah, internet's the worst.
It's hilarious. I work from home and I'm in the middle of nowhere, and so I end up having like 7 days a year where my internet goes down and I can't be at work even though I work from home. So I just use my phone as a hotspot.
Well, office hours is incredible. So next up, DC Universe released their Comic-Con panel with all the talking. Unfortunately, the episode premieres are not available. However, all the discussion is, on top of that, DC Universe released the Batman panel from San Diego Comic-Con. So, what do you guys think? Have any of you guys seen the panel?
I did watch the panel. Anybody else?
Yeah, I watched it.
I don't know if I did.
Let's talk about the commentator first.
Who was the commentator again?
It was the fellow from TV Guide with all the tattoos. What did you think
That's
of
right.
Nu52?
I have no opinion.
Really? That's interesting. I really loved
I
it.
thought he
DC
was
should
like a
do it
super
more.
fan.
Oh, I thought he
was
meant if I
obviously
had
a
an
super
opinion on the
fan.
guy.
Oh, no, I was
Oh,
referring to
no.
the panel.
No, yeah. I think it's cool, and we learned that Titans is premiering September 6th, so that's coming up pretty soon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very exciting. Very, very exciting.
Yeah. So we didn't get a chance. You didn't get a chance to talk about it because I'm so sorry. So because you had to leave early. So what you two think, Don-el, I guess, and Toonatonian too. What do you all think of Harley Quinn's first trailer?
Wow.
You loved you
Yeah.
just wow.
Agreed.
Just wow. It was kind of
We'll
brutal,
see.
right? Like in your face and
Yeah.
brutal.
I'm not positive I'm going to follow it. Maybe I'll go catch up on Young Justice while it's on.
So I'll say this.
I don't know.
So I'll say
I
this.
really am
No. Wow, this is an interesting. We're having some fun today. So I'll say this: Harley Quinn episode 1 is going to be super curse heavy. Apparently, there's like 20. There's like a curse a minute, but then apparently there's a curse limit of 6 for every or there's an F limit for every episode after number 1. So for anyone who's turned off ahead of time by the amount of cursing, it calms down a lot.
I like cursing, so I'm okay.
The curse a minute was what they were planning to do with episode 2, but they said that that's when they instituted the limit on the cursing.
Mm-hmm. That comes courtesy of the panel. But I was reading reviews for it because the people who saw the premiere gave like long reviews, and IGN said the only problem I had with it, which really prohibited it was funny despite the cursing, rather than with it as an extension of the cursing. Like it felt like cursing the curse.
Oh.
Yeah, and Don-el was saying that was part of his problem with Doom Patrol. So this is my warning way ahead of time for anyone who feels that way about episode 1. There is a curse limit for all future episodes, so it won't be this as bad. It's like 6 curses.
I should
like a
clarify.
curse every 4 minutes.
I should clarify. It's not cursing in general. It's when the cursing is abusive that I get upset. I mean, if someone just started on cursing in general because they're an angry person and just life, that's one thing. But when the cursing is very derogatory at a particular person and trying to make them feel bad about themselves, that's where it's tough.
Well, I think that was one of the complaints about episode 1 was it was cursing the curse and kind of in a mean-spirited way. And it was like designed to be comical, but it wasn't. People were saying it wasn't super funny, but it gets better. I just wanted to say that while I was here. So
did anyone?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Did anyone see the new stuff coming out for Wonder Woman Bloodlines?
I haven't seen the trailer yet.
No, but I'm excited.
I didn't see a trailer either, but I saw a short clip, and the synopsis is pretty good.
Yeah, I saw the synopsis, and I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
is it all similar to your story, Nu52?
No.
Nu52 writes Jason and the Argonauts, which is fantastic. Although it's been a little while since we've had an episode. Wink, wink, wink.
About 2
I certainly wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, well, I'm going to say something. I'm only complaining because I love it so much. Okay, so I'm gonna play a new game. Okay, every week I'm gonna ask you a little trivia question from a DC Universe show. The question is multiple choice, and we'll keep a running tally of the points. I don't know what we'll do for the winner or something. Maybe they could choose an episode, and that's all we talk about for an episode. You're like, I want to talk about the Batman animated series, and that's all that we talk about. So anyone who's playing can join the tally. And so it's a multiple choice question. That way, at least there's some guessing involved. And we'll make these easier or harder based off in future weeks, depending on how you guys do. So my question this week is, which character from Titans had an Easter egg in Doom Patrol? Is it A, Garfield Logan, B, Raven, C, Superboy, or D, Dick Grayson? I'll let you guys ponder for this for a second.
Wait, is this for us or the viewers?
Yes, this is for you guys.
Oh.
Well, A, Garfield Logan.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
That's a tough one. The other way around was easy.
With the viewers answering?
Right?
So one of the reasons why this isn't interesting and important is that Easter egg is actually super important for anyone following the universe, and I'll explain why after they answer. But is it so? It would make sense for it to be Garfield Logan, right? It would make sense. It wouldn't make a lot of sense for it to be Raven, although there's all the sorts of stuff that Raven did. Superboy, kind of an unknown, and Dick Grayson is the sort of person who could just have a little Robin thing and be simple. But there's all sorts of ways a possible Easter egg could happen. So we have Toonatonians going with Garfield Logan. Nu52.
I'm gonna go Dick Grayson.
And Donna?
I am going with Dick Grayson as well. For 200.
So the answer is C, Superboy. And this comes courtesy of a news article which talks about this guy, him breaking out of Cadmus. And the reason why it's important is it gives us the only sense of possible timelining for Doom Patrol, which still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I still think it's Doom Patrol before Titans, but it gives us a sense of timeline for the universe because it tells us that Doom Patrol takes place after Titan Season 1, but it probably takes place after Titan Season 2, Episode 1, if I had to guess. Anyway.
Wait, how does Cadmus tie into Doom Patrol?
So there's just a random news article on like a screen at one point that talks about Superboy breaking out.
Oh,
it's like a
subtle
Easter egg that you only know that people only know because it gives some perspective as to the timeline. But it's something that anyone who's following the universe find interesting. The other game I wanted to play is called Pitch It. So basically, I would love for all of you to pitch an episode of the Harley Quinn animated series. What would your episode be? Because Adult Swim episodes tend to be slightly political, but also super funny and put people in weird scenarios. So I guess what's a weird scenario you could see for Harley Quinn?
Well, I think having her team up with Superman instead of Batman might be kind of fun to watch what happens.
Ooh. I agree. I want to see that too. I've always thought that too. I'm like, come on, just go ahead and step on over into Metropolis. Let's do this.
Could you imagine Harley Quinn wearing a Superman outfit? I feel like it would be super weird.
That would be weird.
It's like Harley Quinn is such a Batman character. It's hard to envision her as anything else, even as she steps outside a little bit with Poison Ivy and them being on the beach together and stuff. She's not always in Gotham, but she's such an but she's such a Batman character. It's hard to envision her anywhere else, right? But I love the idea. But I love the idea of Superman and Harley Quinn doing a team up. As weird as that would be. Because it's funny because Nightwing and Superman did a team up once upon a time, and that was kind of a disaster for Nightwing because Nightwing couldn't do much. It's he's okay, so I'm finally here. Superman's I already took down the truck and wrapped everyone up and wrote a 12-page report on the incident. And Nightwing's because that's Superman, right? That's the same thing with the Flash, right? Superman is basically the Flash, but slightly slower with all sorts of other power.
The hero that started with Superman that would be a similar team up was Ambush Bug.
Yeah, that's right. So,
I'm trying to think, the closest I can think that they've got to is trying to think if it's a Lego animated or if it was just an animated show, is where Superman watches Gotham for Batman while he's out of town for some reason. He needs to go on vacation.
I love that.
And Superman cannot handle Gotham villains because it just doesn't make sense to him. So he just has a hard time with it. Joker fools him with a spoon or something. Yeah, I need to find that. I'll have to find it later.
But part of what's funny about Superman and Gotham is that there's all sorts of instances, example, where Joker is just such a Batman villain. It's hard to see otherwise. Joker outmatches Superman completely and kicks off the entire Injustice universe. Right? The Injustice universe goes crazy because Joker outmatches Superman. Which is funny because Batman outmatches Joker and Superman outmatches Batman, right? And so it was really interesting. It wasn't funny. Let me take it back. It's super tragic. Don't think it was funny. I don't have that dark of a sense of humor. But there's something so interesting about watching Superman team up with and work against other villains of other people's rogues galleries.
It is fun. Yeah, it is.
Like, could Harley Quinn even work against the Flash? You know? Because, like, the Flash can just run in there and it's over. Bye.
I think she throws a banana peel down. Actually, I think that's how she deals with Flash.
Well, at least the color, and also they are color coordinated.
They are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting.
I don't know.
But one thing
I think they're different shades of red.
I think if I had to pitch a Harley Quinn animated series, I really want to see something where Ivy just goes crazy off the walls, and Harley Quinn is like joins her, like they like form a protest, like an environmental protest, and then Batman's like, and then Batman's like, I'm on to you, and Batman just like stalks them the entire time, and they're like, come on, Batsy, I feel like it could be really funny. I had this really great pitch yesterday, and then I forgot it when I was coming up with what to do today. And I don't remember it.
Yeah, and there's another source material print comic that I think would go great too with that. Batman, Poison Ivy, Cast Shadows. They could pull stuff from that for it.
Ooh, I like that. It'd be really interesting because I think my biggest problem with Harley Quinn as a comic is that it's out of continuity, but it's not out of continuity, and it likes to pretend that it is, but when it isn't. But I'd like to see them try to do something to explain Harley Quinn's continuity, especially if she's getting her own animated series that's like off the walls crazy. It needs to feel like it feels like it can exist in the world, and I don't know if it will or not. But I kind of want to see them try.
Yeah, there's one where she like breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. They should go that way too.
So I know that this is a DC podcast, and I was going to give you guys a chance to talk about MCU Phase 4 real quick, but since we're running out the time, I really want to talk about The Boys. So Amazon's new original is out, just came out today, and the Boys, and it's about like superheroes and like their franchise world, where like superheroes are all about the money and how the superpower people are like used for money. And this big company has contracts with all superheroes, and the company is like, we'll have the superhero patrol your town and be like your town superhero for $230 million a year. And it's like, dang, but it's like serious. Like this is a world where like that's a lot of money. But but the superhero would be so important to the town. And it's like, it's super dark. It's super gory, but it's like super tragic, and you feel all the emotion going off of everyone. And it feels like a perfect look at like this. It's like a meta narrative of us now, and like the superhero obsessed world we are right now. But also also a little have some sense of like an injustice sort of look
like all the corporate greed taking over.
Yeah,
it fits.
And it's super cool, and like about sort of like how you can't, and like it's super relevant to today, especially for anyone who's into like, or I guess like who appreciates like the Me Too movement. Like there's a lot of look at like what that looks like for superheroes, especially in a world where it's so important to be like on the team. It's like, and some people are in power and some people have less power on the team, especially the women don't have as much power. And so that's really interesting.
Oh, that sounds really great.
Something. It does. Yeah, I'm going to check it out. Are you going to check it out, New52?
I sure will after I'm done with Orange is the New Black, which stars Diane Guerrero, who plays Jane on Doom Patrol.
And it stars Ruby Rose, right? Who's Batwoman.
Well, she's not on the show right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did she like get out of prison?
I forgot. It happened a while ago, but she hasn't been on the show for years.
Wow. Well, it's the last season too, right?
Yeah, it's the farewell season. I'm sad.
Do you feel like it's time for the show to end though?
Yeah. They're wrapping it up perfectly. It's time, but it's still sad, just like all these other DC shows are ending, like Arrow, iZombie, Preacher. Gotham just ended. It's just sad.
Yeah, but we have a lot of new ones coming up. Pennyworth, for example, is fantastic.
It was.
Folks,
loved it.
and I just want to advise you all that I'm accidentally going to get it because Epix was free this weekend on Dish. And so I plan on doing one of those lovely little watch-alongs probably next weekend. I'm thinking a Saturday, maybe, early afternoon or something like that, whatever people are.
Well, for anyone curious,
I'm ready.
episode 1 of Pennyworth is available on demand, and it's free right now. But the rest of Epix is not. But any of the first episode on demand is, and so it's something you should definitely think about checking out because I'm just getting a taste for it. I'm probably not going to watch the rest of the season because I don't feel like paying $6 a month for like 2 months till the show finishes. Like I don't want to see it that badly, but it's really good, you guys. It's really interesting, and it's way better than expected because that's what happens to these superhero shows. They sound like such a cash grab, like Krypton, for example, right? Cash grab, like heaven. It's like let's go 100 years into like a super prequel to Superman, and we'll throw in all your favorites like Zod and all that, and we'll have characters you've never heard of, and there'll be this confusing thing that you're just like, what's going on the whole time, and they'll be great because we'll make money. But Krypton ended up being incredible, right? It ended up being phenomenal. It's probably my favorite show to watch right now. Like, although The Boys is really good, Krypton is just like the most like enjoyable drama ever.
It's
like my
very
heart pounds.
It's very emotional.
My heart just pounds the entire like anytime anything remotely bad comes possible happening, I like hear my heart beating and I'm like, shut up, heart, you're really loud. I want to watch. It's like that good. And I like The Boys gave me a little bit of that too. Like I felt my heart at times and I felt like the sadness and I was smiling at one point when one of the superheroes was on. I was like, wait, I'm smiling like really big. It's like, why am I smiling? This is horrible. But I think superhero shows, we're in a golden age for them, is that all the cash grabs are actually really good. And all the ones that don't seem like cash grabs aren't as good. It's really interesting. Well, do you guys have anything you guys want to say before we wrap it up?
I'm good, thanks.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, again, I did want to talk a little bit about Legion, but we might do that next time.
You can shoot ahead. You can shoot ahead, like 3 minutes.
Well, I'm just saying, on the Seth Meyers Late Show, as you mentioned, late night, where they actually showed the really nice graphic of the entire new Legion that's coming out in a couple months after that mere 6 years of nothing.
Do you think it'll be November when it comes out?
It's going to be before the end of the year, they're saying. Let's see if that happens. But just some interesting interpretations. Nu52, did you get a chance to look at the bigger picture of all the heroes together?
Yeah, I saw the poster. It's pretty big in scope. It's amazing how many characters they managed to fit in there.
What did you think of Timberwolf?
I'm sorry?
What did you think of Timberwolf?
I haven't taken a complete dive into it.
No, that's okay. Well, with Timberwolf, they've got him actually kind of chunky. He's actually kind of a chubby guy.
Don-el's the sort of person who would just saw that and was like, ooh, Christmas time. And he picked out every single one of them and created a spreadsheet of this guy, and they had a clipped out picture, and he's like, this guy looks like this and blah 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 blah. I'm joking, but Don-el is so obsessed with the Legion of Superheroes.
Well, what's funny about Legion, they're not my favorite comic by any stretch. What's been fun is there's just so much of it in the library, and what I've read has been good, and I've enjoyed it. It reminds me of my childhood, frankly. I used to read the Fat Legion 60 kid.
Yeah.
But it's certainly not my all-time favorite comic. It's not like some other of the more epic series out there. But it's just fun because, as we were talking today on the podcast, I was updating my chronology, where I've got it all charted out on Excel. There's just so much of it. And it's just fascinating to dig in. And basically, I'm just teaching myself. It's almost like I'm taking a class on Legion.
On Legion, yeah. Real quick, House of X is really cool, you guys. For anyone who is curious about these bigger team comics, it's been really fantastic. And apparently, Powers of X, which is actually not Powers of X, it's actually Powers of 10. Horrible naming, but apparently that's also supposed to be really good. So anyone who's interested in going on to Legion, check that out. Anyway, that's all the time we have today. If you like this podcast, please let us know what you thought. Next week, we'll talk about the end of Swamp Thing and the continuation of Young Justice, as it's getting good, as both of them are getting good. Also, I am also working on a special interview with a special guest. I will tell everyone after the recording ends who it is. And there's still a lot to figure out, so no promises. But you guys should be very excited about this guest. Also, if we hit 10 subscribers on Google Play, we will expand to Apple Podcasts. I'm doing this because it's a lot of work to move to a new platform, even if it doesn't seem like it. So I'm gonna wait till you guys show lots of interest. So see you next week, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye.